day.
What do you mean?
But
Wait, Kevin. What do you mean you don't care about volatility if volatility has a direct impact on us as the consumers?
Because we have to fix this problem once and for all.
Oh boy, get ready for this one. Mr. Wonderful, Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank, went on MSNBC and absolutely erupted and talked about what is happening in China, and we need to be supporting these tariffs and supporting Donald Trump. So go ahead, sit back, relax, and enjoy this one because it's a great meltdown. Now, before we start the video, please like the video. It's the #1 way you can help this channel, and it helps others see the videos as well. So let us begin.
They cheat, they steal, they don't play by the rules, and I've had enough. And so I would like this thing worked out. I don't care about the volatility. I don't care if Trump ratchets it up 25% a day.
What do you mean? Wait, Kevin. What do you mean you don't care about volatility if volatility has a direct impact on us as the consumers?
Because we have to fix this problem once and for all. It's killing us. It's killing small business in America. It's killing large businesses. All the IP these guys steal. You go back and look at all of their technological advancements, and this is a personal estimation, you're going to find source code from American companies back 4 decades ago. These guys don't play by the rules. And administration after administration, whether it be European or American, have not dealt with this. It's enough. We've got to solve this problem. Okay. Now, if we have to squeeze Chinese heads to the wall, as I said yesterday when I was testifying, so be it. I'm willing to live with the volatility to get the long situation settled.
Okay, so real quick, I want to point out, right now the counter argument seems to be, well, what about the everyday American citizen? How are they going to deal with this? However, the issue is, what about the last 25 years, throughout the 2000s, when all of these jobs left America? What about all of those American citizens who have lost their jobs, or small businesses who have lost opportunities? Now, this next part, I think some of you might get really annoyed, and Kevin O'Leary definitely does.
I want to compete in China. I want to open up those markets.
If what you're saying is carried out to its ultimate solution, you're talking about the fact that China, the regime, has a system in place that is able to manipulate the world, its currency, and everything else because of its totalitarian nature. Now, we can talk about what happened in 48. We can talk about what happened with Taiwan. We can talk about everything else. But Kevin, it's a reality. The Cultural Revolution in China killed millions of people so that people would remember that they had to remain silent. What you're saying is, I've had enough with China,
but you're good with it?
No,
you're okay with it?
No.
Okay, I want to stop right here. We are also seeing a lot of this. If you have not watched my most recent video, and maybe I'll just play it at the end of this video, there was a news anchor who said, well, look, China's not our enemy because what about the iPhone prices? They'll go up. We are seeing a lot of these arguments of almost giving China either a lot of credit or almost fear-mongering of, well, how could we challenge China? And Kevin O'Leary will explain, look, we are the United States with the strongest economy. These arguments are so lame to try and manipulate the viewer into thinking we have no power over China. They're way too powerful. Check this out.
On the contrary, but what I'm asking you is, what is the solution to dealing with China, a system that systematically violates human rights?
Here's how it works.
And that is able to use...
Well, you asked me, I'm going to tell you. You got Xi.
Okay.
He's the supreme leader for life. What keeps him in power?
Yes.
Keeping his people employed and fed. Now, when you shut down a factory, I think Janice Mackey-Ferrer just on before me, he's talked about this. When you shut down a factory, you put thousands, if not tens of thousands of people unemployed in China. They take burning torches, just like in a Frankenstein movie, up to the castle, and that's a bad outcome for the supreme leader. He knows that. Now, what's the largest consumer market on earth? The United States. Almost 40% of all goods consumed worldwide. What's the largest GDP? 25 or 26% GDP of the world? The United States of America. China needs the United States of America. We have the upper hand right now. We have the cards. Now's the time to settle this because we may not be the largest economy forever, but right now we can squeeze Chinese, and I'm talking about the government, not the people, to comply with the laws and get a level playing field between China and the United States of America. If it takes a little volatility, a little indigestion, a little acid reflux, I don't care. I want this thing worked out now because I can show you countless occurrences of where I have backed, as an investor, a company that gets to $5 million in sales with a consumer good or service, on Amazon, on Alibaba, and then as soon as it hits 5 million, it's knocked off. They steal the IP, they manufacture it there, they sell it.
Okay, just so you know, this is exactly what happens, and this is how China has a very, very clever way of manipulating the market. And I've talked about this before, and Kevin O'Leary is like the only person talking about this on TV right now. Basically, China owns every single entity, every single company in China. So when an American brand all of a sudden is doing really good, well, you're in Chinese territory, that's ours now. And not only is it ours, we're going to steal every single idea, we're going to steal all of the production. Now it gets back on the Chinese stock market as a different company name, and they, being the Chinese government, can inject their own money into that stock and make it appear as if, look at this brand new company, it's doing awesome. That is a problem. And I totally understand and I sympathize. I am a regular old American, just like probably all of us watching this video. Without a doubt, there's a lot of disconnect here to the everyday worker who's just trying to survive every day. Kevin O'Leary is really representing the entrepreneur, where these entrepreneurs are a necessity for American everyday life, to make our lives better, to make sure the American dollar is stronger. But if every single time an American entity gets stolen in the Chinese market, this is a problem, and this is what Kevin O'Leary is trying to say.
Back into this market, I'm not okay with it. I'm not okay with that anymore.
That's the nature of the regime. So what you're calling for is a regime change in China?
No. We don't have to change the regime. Xi has to come to the table and understand he's got to work this out. Otherwise, there's a bad outcome for him. And listen, there's something else you should be aware of, and I saw this happen yesterday. It's now public information. This Paul Atkins guy was confirmed for the head of the SEC. And why that matters, I don't know if you saw that letter from Rick Scott, but he said, I'm not going to confirm you unless you agree to uphold the law that the previous administration did not uphold about delisting Chinese companies that do not abide by GAAP. There's billions of market cap right now listed on NASDAQ and NYSE companies that I have to compete with. I have to pay for the compliance costs. I have to be transparent. I have to abide by the law, and they don't. And they raise money with the same bankers I use, and I have to compete with them. And they're not being transparent. They have to get delisted. And Atkins, I guess, they must have had an agreement because he got confirmed. As soon as he gets sworn in, start delisting these Chinese companies. This law was modified to only give them 2 years to abide and actually comply, and they didn't. So delist them. Why should I have to compete with them? Let's squeeze them. Just keep going and going and going until they start complying. That's what I want.
So there you go. I think Kevin O'Leary does a really, really good job with the education piece here. And look, I understand not a lot of people actually like Kevin O'Leary. Some people question Kevin O'Leary. That's for a different video, different time. But as far as the education piece on what exactly is going on, I do wish more Republicans or entrepreneurs or CEOs, you need to get on television and let everyone know this is what's happening. This is what's happening behind the scenes. And if you guys want to do your own research, when you go look into the initial Chinese market drop-off, all of a sudden it started going up. This is because there were announcements of these quote-unquote Chinese investment firms who were going to start, working with other Chinese companies and investing in the stocks of Chinese companies that are falling apart. That was literally the Chinese government. That is just the Chinese government taking money out of their own pockets and putting it into these Chinese companies to make it appear as if everything is okay. Now, look, that's the thing. China has the upper hand in the case of their type of government and their type of economic situation, where it's terrible for the working people, but it's great as far as the World Economic Forum because they could always make it appear as if everything is okay. But that needs to stop because everything is not okay. We are not getting fair deals with China. And by the way, neither is anyone else.
The end result needs to be, can we level set with many of our trading partners and decrease the trade deficits that ultimately exist? If we can do that, I think that's a win. As it pertains to corporate America, I think once we pass corporate tax cuts or renew the Trump tax cuts, I think we'll see a significant amount of that wealth return in the next couple of weeks or 2-3 months. I think corporate America will be perfectly fine, and then we'll move on. The focus does need to be on China. I mean, Scott's right. They steal our IP and sell it back to us. I don't know any country in the world who would give their ideas away for free and then buy the ideas back. we have to figure out a way to protect American businesses and entrepreneurs, and we haven't figured that out in the past couple of years now. So I think there's some benefit to the American people and businesses by focusing the attention on China.
I think everybody agrees.
Now, there are some arguments from Democrats that Donald Trump doesn't even have any idea what's going on. He's just going with the wind and did a complete 180 turn, and things just seem to be working out, but they're not working out. I mean, check out this clip.
You say there's no strategy, but the Treasury Secretary swears this was all part of a grand plan. You don't buy that?
Obviously not, because if in any deal, right, if you're trying to, the art of the deal we keep hearing, okay, great. What are you trying to get out of that? Well, you would want to get some concessions, right? You'd want to get something that you negotiated for. All they got were phone calls from foreign countries. That's pretty easy. You could have just called them yourselves and said, hey, we might inflict tariffs on you unless you negotiate with us. They don't even have any concessions. It is a complete 180-degree turn. It is a total cave because Donald Trump recognized that whatever his rationale for the tariffs were was not being bought by the American people and by the global economy.
Now, while we're here, we might as well watch this meltdown over from CNN. It's again another outrageous Democrat argument. In fact, this might be the worst one we have ever seen as far as the tariffs topic. Again, sit back, relax, and enjoy because I've never seen anything this outlandish.
And you cannot just go and say, I like it, it's mine now. It doesn't work that way. Well, that is what they're trying to do. And in this new world order, yeah, absolutely. When they're looking at Greenland and say, I like it, I want to take it for mine, that is a very colonizing.
You have said you are.
I have never ever said we're going to go to Greenland and quote colonize it or steal it.
You're not a member of government, so you're irrelevant at that point. I'm talking about the president of the United States doing that.
You got fired from your job.
You can agitate.
Scott, if you want to engage in personal insults,
I don't, but you
what
do.
you lack in the legitimate point, you make up for in personal
I don't. You
personal
do.
insults. The point I am making is in this new world order, we are looking at countries, whether or not they're an adversary or ally, it is being determined on what kind of deal we can get. And we cannot govern, we cannot legislate that way. We are increasingly isolated on the world stage.
No, we're not.
So if you want to engage in personal insults,
we're not
if I were
isolated.
you, I would reserve that for your party who
We're
is
not
increasingly isolated. Our position
outside of the United States.
Okay, look, just please regard that last argument from that Democrat because that's actually not an argument anyone is making. I have no idea why she did that. I have no idea why she thought that clip was not going to circulate and go mega viral all over the internet. But anyway, the main point and topic is what Kevin O'Leary was talking about. I'm really curious how you guys all feel about this. Again, my main opinion is this. I 100% understand, as an average American, this plan and idea will not work if we really start to suffer. However, when it comes to making things fair, I think Republicans need to make sure you are educating the public a little bit more like what Kevin O'Leary is doing on what exactly is going on. And as far as a long-term plan and a moral plan to make sure we're actually helping Americans, but also the people of China because they have terrible working conditions to begin with. We have to make sure we are doing things right and fair, and Republicans need to make sure they're doing a better job of reporting that to the public. So anyway, thank you guys for being here. God bless, and we'll see you all later.